Okay, so it looks like my voiceover commentary is coming out. Hey, Graz Hall, thanks so much for joining in on the Tech Talk. Thanks for swinging by. And if while I'm going through this, you guys have any questions, please feel free to interrupt me and ask any questions. So we're going to talk a little bit tonight about the Elgato Chatlink Cable to start off with. First of all, this is a solution that a lot of streamers reach for in an effort to solve the problem of how do I talk to my party while concurrently getting my voice into my live stream. Some of you guys are familiar with this. This is it here. You can see the fine Elgato branding here on the cable. And the way you connect the Elgato Chatlink cable is, and tonight we're going to be using the PlayStation 4 as an example. You take the long 3.5mm male lead, plug it into your controller at the bottom. This short line is where the microphone lead for your headset, and I have one that splits the microphone leads out. Sorry, it's actually not the way you'll connect it. You'll actually connect it with a singular lead, so we're gonna have to connect that back up. So now I'm using a headset that just has a singular lead, that a tripole lead that combines both the mic and headphone side onto one 3.5mm male jack. You plug that in to the short side of the Elgato, the longer side of the Elgato Chatlink cable. Right, you will run over to the Elgato external or internal capture cards analog input. Or you could run this to the line-in slot on a PC. The problem is that, like I said, most people reach for this cable as a solution of how do they get their party chat into their live stream. And this cable will do exactly that. What it won't do is it won't get your voice from your headset into your live stream. So one of the things you got to do, or I'd recommend you learn how to do as a streamer, is there's an engineering skill set called tracing cables, right? So you really have to think about how the audio from your given gaming system routes, how it's routed. So on the PlayStation 4, once you connect anything into this 3.5mm port, the in-game audio. Hey Slade, thanks so much for stopping by. We're talking over audio patches and cables and Elgato chat links and stuff like that. So if you have any questions, please feel free to interrupt me. So once you plug a 3.5mm connection into the bottom of a PlayStation 4 controller, what happens as soon as you plug that in is all in-game audio is routed wirelessly from the PlayStation 4 to, hey, what's up, man? How you doing? Thanks so much for stopping by. Gets routed to the controller. The PlayStation 4 is very particular in that once it does that, it doesn't have the capability of routing in-game audio anywhere else. So once you plug a 3.5mm lead into this controller, that's the only place in-game audio is being transferred. If you think about how audio works on the PlayStation 4, what is coming out of the bottom of this port. So let's say you're not using a Chatlink cable. Let's say you're just using a standard headset. Think about what comes into your headset from this port. What comes into your headset is the in-game audio and your party's chat. So when you run this to the Elgato analog input, that's what's going to the Elgato. The in-game audio and your party's chat. The other members of your party. Your own voice input from the mic on your headset does not come out of this port, therefore it doesn't go over to the Elgato. This is a thing that's a little misleading, and I kind of get a little frustrated with Elgato, and in general I'm a fan of Elgato products, but the Chatlink cable is a thing that feels like it should solve the problem of dual routing your voiceover from your mic, but that is not what it does. That's not that hard of a problem, and it's not that big of a deal. The biggest problem is that people get misled thinking that's what it does. We all buy this cable. I bought this cable thinking that's what it did. And then you wind up spending hours troubleshooting because you don't understand why the mic from your headset's not getting into your live stream. So hopefully people will hear about this talk and will stop buying this for that purpose. So with this cable, you can add some other cables to it, and you can solve that problem. what I'm going to walk through tonight, unless you guys, after I get done, you guys tell me you want to see it done differently, is I'm going to run an audio patch without using this Elgato Chatlink, mainly to show you that you can route the audio the way that you need to without buying this thing. That all being said, I still have mine, and on occasion it does. It is a quick way to do that setup without some of the other shenanigans. So, one of the things I've mentioned in Tech Talks before is, as a streamer, I would just recommend that you keep a bunch of utility cables on hand. Over time, you're probably going to run into setup problems where you're going to need a cable to solve a certain problem. So the things that we're going to use tonight, we're going to use 2 of these, and this is a 3.5 millimeter male to RCA left and right channel splitter cable, adapter cable, whatever you want to call it. Hey, Tyler, thanks so much for swinging by, man. Good to see you. Glad to see you are still part of the group. And if you have any questions or any feedback or input while I'm going along here, please stop me and let me know. So this will take audio out of a 3.5 millimeter output and convert it over to RCA left and right channel audio, or it will take audio out of an RCA left and right output and convert it to a 3.5 millimeter input. Hey, man. Hey, Tyler. Like I said, good to see you, man. Thanks so much for dropping by. So tonight, we are going to be using 2 of these cables. Yeah, man, it has been a while. So, that's one set of cables that I would recommend you just keep in your streaming kit. The other kind of cables that I would recommend, and these are kind of the crown jewels, right, is a RCA left and right channel piggyback to 3.5 millimeter adapter cable. And the piggybacks are male and female, which is, they always are. I've never seen them reversed, although I guess they could be. The other end of it will come in 2 variants. You can have a female input or a male output. We will use 2 of each. So again, these are ones that I would strongly recommend. I'd also say, this is a setup that I typically, I also solve this problem with a hardware mixer. So, but I'm showing it tonight without a hardware mixer because I know some people are price sensitive to making that investment. A decent hardware mixer will run you probably about $50. If that's not something you want to do, what we're going to do tonight is do it without one. So let's again go to the problem. You're trying to set up your live stream so that you can both talk to your party, hear your party, and be heard in the live stream, as well as have the live stream hear your party. So let's start with the PS4 controller, and we're gonna work it out and then back in. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna connect this Y cable to the PS4 controller. This is a Y cable that takes your discrete, audio channel and splits it out into a discrete headphone and discrete microphone receiver. So I'm going to plug the 3.5 millimeter end into the PlayStation 4 controller, and now what I have dangling is I have one receiver for the headphone side, and then another input for the microphone side. The headset that I'm using tonight to set this all up is a Razer Man of War Destiny 2 Tournament Edition headset. And so what you're also going to need, or what is good, is to have a headset that also splits out the audio channels into discrete microphone input and headphone output. So the first side of this problem is that I need to get the in-game audio both into my headset and into my streaming PC, right? Or the capture card. So we're going to start by working the headphone output side, right? So this is working the audio out. So again, what you've taken is you've taken the PS4 controller, you've split it up into two discrete channels, one of which is handling getting audio out of the controller, the other one will handle getting audio into the controller. So at the end of the day, what I need to do is I need to get this audio output, and I need it to come into my headset. You know, I need to go on a Y branch, one going into my headset, the other one going out to the streaming PC. So, and let me just say, you may see me fumble a few times because keeping this all straight in my head is hard enough when I'm not trying to do it live on camera. So what we're going to need is we're going to need one of the male 3.5 millimeter male to RCA piggyback cables, right? So again, we've got this 3.5 millimeter female output here. We're going to connect in the male side of the piggyback cable, right? Now we've got a bidirectional splitter, right, that's capable of sending audio out in two directions, right, which is what you wanted to get to. To get the audio into the Man of War headset, now what I got to do is I got to convert that, right, over to a 3.5 millimeter female connector, so I can plug the male end of my Man of War headset into it. So I'm using two piggyback cables here. This could just be a straight RCA female to 3.5 millimeter output cable, so it doesn't have to be another piggyback cable. That unfortunately is just is all that I have. So we're going to take the second piggyback cable that ends in a female 3.5 millimeter connector, and we will now connect that to the male 3.5 millimeter headphone input going into the Razer Man of War headset. Hey Braxton, how you doing, man? Thanks so much for joining in on the live stream. Thanks for swinging by. Good seeing you. Glad to see you're still part of the crew. So again, this is always hard to do because I don't have a big camera that can pull all the way back so you can see how all the stuff is connected. But my point is now we have audio coming out of the PlayStation 4 controller. It then goes to this splitter cable, which can send things out two different ways. One of the ways that we're going to send it is we're going to send it downstream to connect into the headphone input side of the Razer Man of War headset, right? So that's how I'm going to get the in-game audio into my headset. Now, to get my headset microphone into the PlayStation 4 controller, we're just going to do the same thing in reverse, right? So, coming out of the Razer Man of War headset, we've got the microphone output, right? So we're going to use the other, right, all right, we're going to use the other piggyback to female 3.5 millimeter adapter cable. And we're going to take the female adapter cable, plug it into the end of the headset. Now what I have is I have my microphone audio coming out of my headset, going into a cable that now allows me to split and send that audio in two different directions, right? So one of the ways that I want to send it is I want to send, well, let's just talk about, I'm going to come back. So let's talk about getting it into my PlayStation 4 controller. So I'm going to, what I can do it a few different ways, but let's keep using the piggyback cables. So I'm going to connect the fourth piggyback cable, right, and take the output out of this one that's connected up to the microphone. Sorry, Slade. Is something going wrong with OBS for you? I'm not using OBS right now. I'm just directly using Facebook's live stream posting capability. So if something's going on with that, let me know, because they were just doing maintenance on Facebook. So this may be screwing up. If this is screwing up for you guys live, I am concurrently recording it with OBS, and so I'll wind up posting it to the group as a video or giving you a link to a YouTube video as well. So now I'm going to come out of the two cross-connected RCA piggyback cables, and now I have my single 3.5 millimeter male microphone input, and I'm going to connect that into this Y splitter that I have on the PlayStation 4 controller. So hopefully, like I said, it's difficult for me to come up with a camera that shows it all in one picture, but hopefully by talking through that, you have an understanding of how I'm taking the audio out of the PlayStation 4 controller, splitting it out two different directions, sending one into the headset for the in-game audio, and then grabbing the microphone output of the headset in a similar fashion, hooking up some piggyback cables, and sending it into the PlayStation 4 controller. Now, what I didn't do with either one of those is I did not set up the connections to then send that over to the streaming PC. That was no problem. Or over to an Elgato HD60. Yeah, Slade. If just you're not gonna bother me, man. Just let me know what's going wrong with the video in the. Just post whatever's going wrong with the video in the chat, so at least I know I'm aware of it. So with both of those piggyback cables, right? What I left unconnected was I left the female connectors on the back end of the piggyback cables unoccupied, right? So to send it over to the PC, what I'll just do with both of them is I'll just connect a set of straight stick RCA to 3.5 millimeter cables, and now I'll run one to the line in port on a streaming PC, and then I'll set up OBS to take that as the in-game audio. Also keep in mind on the same line is also the other members of my party's chat audio. So that's going to be coming over the same line going into the streaming PC, and now I've got, voila, I have my in-game audio and my party's chat going into the streaming PC. By the same token, I left this same connection on the back of the other piggyback cable that was carrying the mic audio from my headset into the PlayStation 4 controller. I would just do the same thing with a straight stick set of 3.5 millimeter to... Oh, sorry. Sorry. So Slade's, as most of us are often to do while we are watching somebody else do something, he's trying to configure his OBS overlay, and he's having problems with it. So I would just, so again, one side of this would carry my mic's audio into my PlayStation 4 controller. This output coming off the back would then, if I were going to use one mic, so this would then carry my mic's audio into my live stream. Yeah, so I should have specified that up first. This whole rope-a-dope is if you are trying to do all of this with one mic. So what I could do is I could use just the Razer Man of War headset, and I could set all these cables up so that I just have the one mic, and that goes both to my party and concurrently into my live stream. Now, that all being said, that's the way I used to do things, because I used to feel like it was a pain in the butt to have two mics set up within the physical space. These days, I actually just use a second mic for a couple reasons. So if you want to do a second mic, then what you do is you set up that microphone audio patch that I showed you, but you don't run the connection out of the backside, right? You just use that to get your microphone input into the PlayStation 4 controller. And actually, you don't need to run the piggyback cables. You can, I'm trying to figure out which one of these is the mic line. Right? You actually don't have to run the piggyback cable. So let's see if we can figure out how to get rid of that. Right? If you're not going to split the audio from your mic out, you can just connect the, you can just connect the mic straight into that Y splitter cable that I connected, right? So my point is this is the way that you could patch in and route your audio without having to use an Elgato Chatlink cable. And now you've seen how to do it if you want to just use one mic or if you want to use two. One of the reasons I use a second mic is it's just easier from a cable routing perspective. The other reason is a lot of times there's a couple of principal problems with either of these setups. One of the ones, and hopefully, well, either you've been exposed to this or you've heard it as feedback from your listeners. One of the big problems with having your party's chat in your live stream is lots of us have friends who are very loud, and so they often drown out the in-game audio, and it's difficult to get in and futz around and try an audio mix balance with the controller, because that's the only way you can really do it. The sound levels between your party and the in-game audio. So that's a big enough pain in the butt. I these days tend to use a second mic because a lot of times my party doesn't necessarily want to hear me getting into like a lengthy back and forth with the viewers who are in the chat in my live stream. With two mics, what I can do is, so right now, for instance, I'm doing this video on a Razer Siren Elite. So if this was my secondary mic that I was using for my live stream audio, and then I was talking to my party on the Razer Man of War, then if I had something lengthy to get into with, hey, Derek, thanks so much for joining in the live stream. Unfortunately, we're probably close to wrapping up, so hopefully you can watch this on replay and you can catch all the stuff that we went through before. But while I'm here, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. But let's say I needed to get into something, lengthy with somebody in my chat. I can hit the mute key on my headset so that my party doesn't have to hear that. But I can leave my Razer Siren Elite mic open so that my live stream can. By the same token, my live stream doesn't want to hear me getting into a bunch of stuff with somebody in my party chat, or maybe they're saying something personal. One of the things I always do, hopefully we're all thinking about doing this, is anytime I bring a party in, and I just make sure that they know that I'm live streaming so that they know that anything that they say is going out right into the public. So people can decide whether or not they want to use their real names or whatever, like on the party and that kind of stuff. But vice versa, if I need to get into something lengthy with somebody in my party, when I use two mics, what I can do is I can mute the live stream mic, either with the hardware button on the mic or with my Elgato Stream Deck, and then just talk to my party. So hopefully that answered a lot of questions. I think the main thing that I want people to know is don't buy the Elgato Chatlink cable to solve the problem of getting your voice into two different places. That is not what it is for. It is for extracting the party chat out of your controller and sending that over to an external capture card or a streaming PC. If you're trying to solve the problem of getting your voice into both your party and your live stream, then either use two mics or run an audio patch cable, an audio cable patch to split those audio streams out. And either way, if you're on a headset and you're playing a multiplayer game on a console, you need to run an audio patch for half of that, for at least the in-game audio output coming out of your controller. And again, I'll say one of the key things that when people ask me for help that they run into is a lot of people don't understand how the PlayStation 4 routes audio. Like I said, once you plug a 3.5mm connection here into this controller, the only place audio is coming out is the PlayStation 4 is sending it wirelessly to the controller. So if you're using an external capture card, as soon as you plug this in, it is not sending audio out over HDMI to that capture card. The Xbox has the ability to do both and will do both unless you specifically tell it not to. So the key difference is when you plug in a 3.5mm jack connection into the Xbox One controller, it continues to send audio out over HDMI. So that is the thing that you still need to keep in mind, because if you do run that audio patch, you need to make sure that you select on your capture card to take the analog line audio and not to take the audio coming over HDMI. So before I wrap things up for tonight and go live stream myself, any questions about the Elgato Chatlink cable or routing audio or running audio patch cables? Generally, at this point, I'll just put the mic on mute and hang out for like 30 seconds just to see if any questions come in at the last second. All right, hey, it doesn't look like there are any questions. So so two things. Because I'm not an admin with NLS right now. If you guys need tech talks, if you need me to cover any topics, um, I'll just ask. I'm much more so going to be doing them on demand. I'm doing them as a regular series over on my YouTube channel or on Twitch. Um, but if you guys ever need anything, just ping me and I will do a tech talk. If that's the easiest way to answer your questions. If I see the same kind of question or a frequent question pop up in the discussion thread, I will hop on and do a tech talk as well. Slade, if you, so I'm just trying to get my overlay going and it's not showing my webcam and my alerts don't want to work. Slade, if you have specific questions on, hey Nick, thanks so much for joining the live stream. I apologize you're catching me at the tail end, but Slade, if you're still on and you want any help with your OBS overlay, I can go into that while we're here. But if you're not, I will go ahead and wrap this up and we can all roll out. All right. Well, thanks so much for everybody for joining in on the Tech Talk. Like I said, if you ever have any questions, just hit me up. I will probably, see enough questions to warrant doing these maybe once or twice a month. But in the meantime, if you have anything on demand, just ask. And like I said, I'll hop on if that's the best and easiest thing to do. Thanks so much for joining in on the live stream. Until next time, happy hunting. Take care of yourselves. Stay safe out there. Play the games that you like and stream the games that you love. Once again, my name has been Agasically Stamus from GearWorks.com and the E2KG Network podcasting channel on YouTube, as well as the Rounding Off Infinity Gaming channel on YouTube. That's going to do it for me for tonight. I'm out of here.